Welcome to Okashun channel. Today's video is a 5-minute commentary on Ponyo on a Cliff by the Sea. Please watch until the end. Ponyo on a Cliff by the Sea is an animated feature film directed by Hayao Miyazaki that was released in 2008. It introduces the story of Ponyo, a fish child who wishes to become a human being, and Sosuke, a 5-year-old boy in a town by the sea. Sosuke, a 5-year-old boy, lives in a house on a cliff in a seaside town with his mother, Lisa, and father, Koichi. Koichi was the captain of a cargo ship and was often away from home for long periods of time, so it was practically just Lisa and Sosuke living together. One day, Sosuke found what looked like a red fish in a bottle in the ocean below the cliff. It turned out to be a fish girl who had run away from home on a jellyfish. The girl was stuck in the sea with the bottle stuck in her head, and Sosuke saved her. Sosuke named her Ponyo and decided to take her home. Sosuke's mother, Lisa, worked at a daycare service center, and the kindergarten Sosuke attended was located next to the door. When Lisa went to work, Sosuke would get in her car with her, and Lisa would go to work and Sosuke would go to kindergarten. Sosuke loves Ponyo so much that he puts her in a bucket and takes her to kindergarten, and Ponyo falls in love with Sosuke. But Ponyo's mother was the sea goddess Grandmamare, and her father was the wizard Fujimoto, so she was no ordinary fish. Perhaps because of the powerful magical powers she inherited from her mother, Ponyo had gained the power to change from a fish to a merman by licking the blood from Sosuke's wounds. And Ponyo begins to feel that she wants to be a human just like Sosuke. However, Fujimoto, who is looking for Ponyo, finds her and takes her back to the sea. Fujimoto was originally a human, but he grew tired of humans and became a wizard, falling in love with and marrying Grandmamare, the goddess of the sea. And Fujimoto lived in a coral tower in the middle of the ocean, where he magically purified and refined seawater and stored the water of life in a well in the tower. When the well is filled with this water of life, the age of man will end and the age of the sea will begin. In other words, the water has such a strong magical power. In his own way, Fujimoto cared for Ponyo, Grandmamare's daughter, and eldest daughter, and forbade Ponyo from interacting with humans or going above ground. However, Ponyo, who was in love with Sosuke, didn't listen to Fujimoto's story. Ponyo decides to run away to see Sosuke one more time, but as she tries to escape the house, she accidentally pours seawater into the well. The water of life then overflows around Ponyo, and with her strong magical powers, she transforms into her human form and tries to return to Sosuke. Ponyo uses her magic to create a big wave that turns her sisters into giant fish to get to Sosuke, but Ponyo's magic causes a huge storm in the city where Sosuke lives. In the midst of the storm, Sosuke's mother, Lisa, desperately drives the car with Sosuke in it to their home on the cliff. On the way, Lisa's car is almost hit by a wave, but thanks to Lisa's driving skills, they make it home, and Ponyo, who was following the car, also makes it to Sosuke's house. When Ponyo saw Sosuke, she hugged him passionately. Sosuke immediately realized that this strange girl was Ponyo, the fish he had saved. Lisa then accepted Ponyo, and the three of them ate dinner together. Concerned about the state of her workplace, Lisa left Sosuke and Ponyo and drove to her workplace. The next day, the storm had subsided, but most of the city had sunk into the sea. Sosuke's house was on top of a cliff, so it was not submerged, but the water was still pouring into his yard. Fujimoto said, Ponyo has made a big hole in the world, and panicked that the world might be doomed if the situation continued. Grandmamare suggested to Fujimoto that if he could make Ponyo human, the magic power would disappear, but there was a condition to make Ponyo human. Sosuke had to continue to love Ponyo. If Sosuke no longer had feelings for Ponyo, she would turn into a bubble and disappear. Sosuke and Ponyo decided to go and pick up Lisa, who was late coming home. Using Ponyo's magic to make Sosuke's toy pom-pom boat bigger, they turned it into a boat and went in search of Lisa. However, Ponyo's magic power gradually fades away, and Ponyo's physical strength reaches its limit, and she turns back into a fish. Then Fujimoto appeared and took them to the bottom of the ocean, where they found Lisa, the old men from Risa's workplace, and Grandmamare. Lisa seemed to be discussing the future of Grandmamere, Ponyo and Sosuke. Grandmamere confirmed to Sosuke that he would always love Ponyo, and to Ponyo that she would be willing to give up her magical powers to become human. Sosuke and Ponyo nodded, and Grandmamere cast a spell on Ponyo to make her human. Then Sosuke and Ponyo returned to land, and Ponyo kissed Sosuke, and Ponyo became a human 5-year-old girl. That's it for today's video. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and rate it highly.